The light brown mountains look the same from a distance. Juarez, El Paso, and Las Cruces. Former New Mexico Governor Garrey Caruthers says the cities have a lot more in common. He wants to see them marketed to outsiders as the Borderplex.
It's not often in this world. There have been some studies by OECD. It's not often in this world that a region that goes over 2 countries and 3 states will get together and try to improve their economic condition, mostly by business attraction, but to some degree by business development from within. It's going to work, I think, because the private sector is leading. It's not a government program.
The Borderplex idea stemmed from a report.
In his report to the city of El Paso, he pretty much told them you're not getting very far very fast in economic development. Had it not been for the 21,000 troops that they put in Fort Bliss, you haven't made any progress. And he brought up the point, I think, that inspired a lot of business people, particularly in El Paso. Economic development, business development needs to be driven by the private sector.
But there are some challenges for the project.
Well, you have jurisdictional issues to begin with. And that's one of the things that kept us from working together over a long period of time. Clearly, the way business is practiced in Mexico is different than Texas and New Mexico. And yet in Texas, their laws are somewhat different than our laws. For example, corporate tax laws, I think they have a relatively high property tax. We have a relatively low property tax. So we're not that much alike to begin with, so that's a constraint. Whether we can iron that out over a period of time, I don't know. But we do have some commonalities. We have a workforce. And I told you many times, that workforce needs to be improved. That's a Juarez issue, it's an El Paso issue, it's a Las Cruces issue. We need to have an internationally competitive workforce. That's something we can work together on.
Economics professor at NMSU Chris Erickson says the states benefit from factories in Mexico.
So take, for example, Foxconn, which is located so close to the New Mexico border that you could throw a baseball into their parking lot from Sunland Park. And that Foxconn is the largest employer in the world except for Walmart, private sector, of course, I'm talking about. And so this is a huge employer. They make thousands of Dell computers a day, and that's all driven in Juarez, but that spills over into our own community. That's spilled over into the economic development in Sunland Park and Santa Teresa, and the consequence of that is that we've benefited from the factories in Mexico.
We need to invest as a private sector, but it needs to be regional to include Juarez, Las Cruces, El Paso, Alamagordo maybe. And we need to come up with a concept where when we are trying to recruit a company, we can show them a picture of a whole region. We have so many resources in this area, such a high population. We need to pull together and advertise ourselves as that.
Sloan Patton, KRWG News.